Today on Sugar Spun Run, I'll be showing you how to make my favorite homemade sloppy joes. Hey Sugar Spun Bakers, Sam here, and today I am so excited to be sharing another carefully tested, well-researched, and perfected recipe. This is one of my favorite quick and easy weeknight dinners. It comes together completely from scratch, so there are no seasoning packets or ketchup required. Let's hop over to the stovetop where you're going to need a large skillet. Now the first thing we're going to do is add just a tablespoon of olive oil, and we're going to heat the stovetop to medium heat, and we're just gonna let that oil heat until it's nice and warm. It should be shimmering. Next, I like to add a half cup of finely chopped yellow onion. We're also going to be adding a half cup of finely chopped red bell pepper. Now you can use green bell pepper instead if you prefer, I just like to use red. Now we're going to go ahead and cook this, stirring pretty frequently until both the pepper and the onion are softened and the onion's beginning to be translucent. This is looking pretty good, so now I'm going to add 1 pound of ground beef. I am using 90% ground beef. You can use whatever percentage you prefer. Now we're going to continue to cook this, and I like to use my spoon or a spatula to just break it up and kind of crumble it as it cooks and browns. Now once your beef is nicely browned, if yours has a lot of grease in the pan, you can go ahead and drain that. I find when I'm making this with a 90% beef, I usually don't have any grease to drain. Now we can go ahead and add our spices. We're going to be using 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon of dry mustard powder, though you could use prepared yellow mustard instead. If you only have that on hand, you would need 1 teaspoon of that, 1 teaspoon of table salt, and a 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper. Now I like to stir this in and get the spices nicely worked into the beef before we go any further. So once the spices are nicely worked in, we're going to add our tomato paste. I love using tomato paste. It adds a really nice, robust flavor to the sloppy joes. You're going to need 1/2 cup, and I like to use double concentrated tomato paste whenever I can find it. It just packs an extra punch of flavor. Now, a really good sloppy joe recipe always has a nice, subtle sweetness to it, so we're going to be adding 1/4 cup of firmly packed light brown sugar. For an even sweeter flavor, you could use dark brown sugar instead. Now, this may seem like a lot of sugar. Just remember, many recipes use ketchup plus sugar, and ketchup already has a lot of sugar in it, so this is probably not much more sugar or any more sugar at all than your average sloppy joe recipe that uses ketchup. We'll also add 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, I said that right, and we'll stir everything together until all of the ingredients are nicely combined. Now the last thing you need is 1/2 cup of beef broth. If you don't have beef broth on hand, you could substitute chicken broth or even water, but beef broth is going to give you the richest, best flavor in my opinion. And I'm going to work everything together. So we have a nice rich sauce right now, but we want to go ahead and reduce the heat just a tad, and we're going to let this mixture simmer for about 10 or 15 minutes, maybe even a little bit longer, until the sauce is nice and thickened. It shouldn't be super thin or runny. You want it to have tightened a little bit around the meat before you enjoy it, otherwise you're going to have a super sloppy joe. All right, this is looking pretty good, so I'm gonna go ahead and scoop mine on a bun, and I'm gonna have lunch. Ice cream scoop just makes the job a little bit neater. And that is how you make my favorite homemade sloppy joes. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's recipe, and if you try this one out, please leave me a comment and let me know what you think. I always love hearing from you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.